Okay, Sony, explain something to me. So, within recent memory, you've brought back a few notable franchises, and then you butcher them. But then you turn around and bring back a franchise and actually do something kinda good with it. No, I'm not mad. I'm not mad. I'm just confused. Okay? All I'm asking is that you could have a little consistency. Just a little bit. Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle is a sequel to the 1995 Jumanji film and is about 4 teenagers in the modern day who come across the video game edition of Jumanji. Yeah, Jumanji is no longer a board game but a video game as a way to evolve with the times, and so people will actually play it because they're stupid. So, 4 teenagers come across the game, get sucked in, and take the form of avatars played by Dwayne Johnson, Kevin Hart, Karen Gillan, and Jack Black, and they gotta play through Jumanji in order to get out. So let me just start out by saying I was not completely against the idea of a new Jumanji movie. If you saw my Jumanji Blu-ray review, then you know that I regard Jumanji as a childhood classic, so, you think I'd get really defensive about it, but no. When I found out they were making a new Jumanji, I was open to it. I thought it could be something that could work in the modern day. Now, granted, I kinda wish they could've gone for more like a dark, trying to scare you kinda way, but I think this way actually kinda works. Yeah, I came into this movie with virtually not very great expectations because, at the end of the day, it's still a Sony movie, and, yeah, we know how they handle their franchises, like this one, and this one, and this one, and this one. But yeah, I came into this movie skeptical, and I came out actually liking it more than I thought I was going to. So, Dwayne Johnson, Kevin Hart, Jack Black, Karen Gillan, they're all great in this movie together. I was kind of wondering how this was gonna work, because, of course, like I mentioned earlier, these teenage characters trapped in these avatars' bodies, and of course they all have their different personality traits. Jack Black's character's a teenage girl who's obsessed with Instagrams and selfies and unicorn stickers and boy bands, or whatever the hell girls are into these days. Which of course means Jack Black is gonna act like a teenage girl. And I was pretty sure that bit was gonna get old really, really, really fast. But now I think it actually worked, it was entertaining, and the other 3 characters as well I thought were pretty cool. It's like you actually get to see these 4 characters grow throughout the movie, even though they're not really themselves for the bulk of it, but you can definitely see there's a bit of an organic change to these characters because they have to work together, they gotta get over their stupid crap, and they just gotta set all that aside, work together, and get out of the game. So it was kinda nice to see that. So I was a bit skeptical about the idea of this being a video game version of Jumanji and not the board game, because the board game version of Jumanji just had all these really cool moments, had the really cool Jumanji prop to it, but no, I think Jumanji, the video game, was treated very well here. So of course there's some exposition told about the villain through the form of a flashback with voiceover, but here, they treat it like it's a cutscene in the game, which I thought was kind of funny. So basically you got this flashback going on, and then you hear the characters' voices in voiceover going, what's going on here? Like, oh, it's okay, it's just a cutscene, these happen in video games all the time. I was like, hey, that's kinda cool. There's puzzles they gotta solve, there's places they gotta get into, there's obstacles they have to face, and of course, in traditional Jumanji fashion, we get those little poem things which says like, yada 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 rhyme, yada yada yada, you better watch yourself, yada yada, spooky shit about to happen. But one thing about the world of Jumanji itself, which I was kinda disappointed in, was that, well, watching the original movie as a kid, I always imagined the world of Jumanji being this really dark, foggy, misty, scary-looking place with just terror around every corner, but here it's just kind of more like a, fun, colorful, kind of like an Indiana Jones movie, so that was kind of disappointing, but I guess they kind of had to do that to avoid it being too dark and serious, because God forbid we have serious movies once in a fucking while. And also in this movie, so, we got the rhinos, we got the elephants, we got the jaguars, we've got the Jack Black, but one thing from the original movie that is not in here, which feels like it should have been, was the plant monsters. Yeah, remember that scene from the original Jumanji where they're in the house and the vines start growing around the walls and this giant plant monster that looks like the Demogorgon from Stranger Things pops out and tries to eat Peter? It's like, where the hell were those things this whole time, huh? I thought those were just like growing out of the ground, like, the locals just, take them out of the ground, put them in a pot, leave them in their house, and, feed children to it. Where were those things here? But one thing about the physical video game of Jumanji I thought was kind of strange was, well, this is a Sony movie, and Sony likes to whore themselves out in all their movies by having every piece of electronic equipment be a Sony product. So, why didn't they just make it Jumanji the PS1 game? I mean, come on, that was a bit of a missed opportunity there, but I don't know, I guess I just wanted to, have like a retro game feel to it, make it, have a game console that looks like an Atari, but it's not, have a little cartridge of the game that kind of looks like an Atari mixed with a Game Boy Advance, but it's not. As far as the story goes, it kind of just tells the same story as the last one. We have this one character who 20 years before the present time got sucked into the game. He's been there for a long time. He knows his way around. These other kids get involved in the game. They gotta all work together to get through it. And of course, when they do get out, the character that was stuck there for a long, long time gets his life back, and everybody is better for it. But I think the angle they went at it with this movie, with it being the characters get sucked into the game, not these other things are coming out of the game, I thought that was kind of a cool and a little bit more of a refreshing way to see it, so I think it's okay that they repeated the story this time around. And there was also a really nice tribute to Robin Williams in this movie, which I thought was really nice when I saw it. It's not like some big grand fan service-y reveal, it's just a very nice little thing there in the background, which I thought was just really cool they did that. So of course this basically is a comedy movie, and well, I was kind of afraid that the humor would be a little excessive here, and yeah, I do kind of feel like there are a few too many jokes in the movie, but basically like 99% of the jokes were actually funny here. But one thing I will say about the humor that is that there is one too many jokes in this movie about penises. Yeah, there's several dick jokes in the movie. Not what you'd expect from a Jumanji movie, but some of them are actually kind of clever the way they do them. Not gonna get into detail here because I don't want to ruin it for you, but yeah, lot of jokes about male genitalia. So all in all, Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle was a pleasant surprise. Yeah, I genuinely enjoyed this movie a lot more than I thought I was going to. I do think I'm going to want to see this movie again when it comes out on Blu-ray. I might see in the theater again after like a couple of weeks. But yeah, I could totally see myself going back to this movie, which is kind of interesting because, it just kind of shows what happens when a studio tries to bring back a franchise, and then when they make the movie, they actually try. So, those are my thoughts on Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle. So if you have seen this movie, or you plan on seeing it, I definitely would recommend going to check it out at least one time. If you got nostalgia for the first movie, I think you'll find some enjoyment out of this. But anyway, if you have seen the movie, those are down below, and we'll see you on the questionable side. I'm just gonna walk up and get out of here. Fuck this shit. Forgot my mug.